Recovery is stupendous.
Achievable.
Hope.
Freedom.
Freedom. Freedom.
Empowering.
It's unique to everyone.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Getting a new lease on life.
Finding restoration after you fall down.
Recovery is having the freedom to enjoy life.
For me, it was finding a way to really love myself.
My recovery is possible in part because of my own sense of purpose.
Welcome to Montana's Peer Network Recovery Talks podcast. I'm Jim Haney.
And I'm Andi Daniel.
Thanks so much for tuning in once again to another weekly podcast from Montana's Peer Network. Today we are going to be talking about gratitude. Andy and I are going to share our views and opinions, and it should be a good discussion. We were a little more challenged by this one than we normally are. Usually, you and I can usually kind of shape out the podcast pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think part of it is sort of wrapping my head around what gratitude means. I mean, there's, the dictionary definition, but what does that actually mean personally, or, how do I conceptualize that in my own head?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think just taking some time to contemplate that. And I know when we were prepping, we were trying to figure out, so how are we going to talk about this? And what are our thoughts about it? And so I think it's great that you're willing to do that and talk about it. And maybe as we get into the conversation, maybe more meaning will take shape for you. We don't have to have all the answers to all of the recovery slang that goes on, right? And so you mentioned definition of gratitude. So I am looking at Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies, our workbook, page 83, 84. We have a section on gratitude. So I thought maybe that would be an easy way to kind of start talking about it. And gratitude, it says, is defined as the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. What do you think about that definition?
I love the return kindness part of it. That seems way easier to grasp onto, I guess, than, the quality of being thankful. While I still am not entirely sure what that means. Because sometimes I feel like thank yous can be empty. Right. One of those things that you just say because that's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, that's not gratitude.
Yeah.
That's not gratitude, right?
That's being polite.
Someone opens the door for you. Yeah, exactly. You're going into a building, they open the door for you, you say thank you, you walk through. That's not gratitude, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think it's politeness, right? That's just being polite. I don't think that's true gratitude. I think that acknowledgement part, that's a word that kind of keeps coming to mind for me as we were talking about this. I think there needs to be an acknowledgement, being truly thankful. Like if you were out in the middle of the desert for a day or two and someone walked by with a bottle of water and handed it to you, you would be so thankful and full of gratitude for somebody bringing you a bottled water in the middle of the desert, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's really specific, and it's more than just being just their general politeness or saying your please and thank yous in life, right? I have a little quote here from the book The Secret. Rhonda Byrne says, be grateful for what you have now as you begin to think about all the things in your life you are grateful for. You will be amazed at the never-ending thoughts that come back to you of more things to be grateful for. You have to make a start, and then the law of attraction will receive those grateful thoughts and give you more just like them. Again, that's from the book The Secret. I think there's actually a movie of The Secret now, too.
Yeah, there is.
Right?
Yeah.
I read that when it was a book first. Rhonda Byrne. And, gratitude, and I don't know where I picked this up, but for as long as I've been going into Yellowstone, I've been doing this. And I'll be in the back country, and I'm hiking along, and, you come out into a meadow, or you go, a trail makes a curve or something, and there is in front of me, and it could be any wildlife pretty much, although I don't do this with birds or rodents, but it could be a bull elk, right, or a cow elk. I mean, either, and they're feeding, but, close proximity. Like sometimes that happens, like I try to make noise when I'm hiking so I don't startle a bear. And I've even done this with bears and wolves and fox and coyote, moose, bighorn sheep. Anyway, you come around the corner or the little hill or something, and you go, oh, there's a bull elk. And the elk raises its head and looks at you. And there is this moment that you and this elk sort of share of acknowledgement of one another. There's no fear. The elk's not like taking off running and, right? It's just like, oh, it's a person hiking on a trail. I don't know what they're thinking. I'm thinking, oh, this is a beautiful elk. And, whether he's got his velvet on or, full rack or whatever. I mean, it's this moment, but I feel it. I mean, I feel it inside. It's a spiritual kind of connection. There's this acknowledgement. And then I say thank you, and I say it aloud. I mean, I say it, quietly, I don't yell it, but, it's like, thank you. It's like just this acknowledgement of two beings, two creatures on this earth. And then I just walk down the trail, and the elk goes back to eating. And I've just been doing that for so long. It's just part of, and it's my way of just acknowledging that moment and saying thank you for that beautiful, few seconds. It's as opposed to, whatever, like just walking by or taking out my camera and trying to get the magazine cover shot of this bull elk, with the big rack and, just this acknowledgement, and been doing it a long time. And I know it makes me feel good. I definitely get like a little boost spiritually. I don't know, that like when we first started talking about gratitude, I immediately thought of that in my own life, just that pausing. And so when I read the definition, I think, oh yeah, it's like giving thankfulness. I'm showing appreciation, and like the elk or whatever, the fox is giving appreciation also.
And I think part of my trouble is that when you see things about gratitude, a lot of it is about, hey, write in a journal every day what you're thankful for. And that can be helpful for people, but that seems like one more thing for me to do and then to feel bad about if I don't. So
more like a task.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that before. You write like a note every day, what you're thankful for. Yeah, for sure. Lots of versions of that in the recovery world. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's meant to be a task. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Andy, and not trying to defend gratitude at all. Just, I think it's obviously how you're just interpreting it, but I think that pausing, because I think in life in general, we don't pause enough to acknowledge what is around us, or like if I'm walking home from work, and there's people walking down the street here in Livingston, and I look at people in the eye, and if they look at me, hello, like I acknowledge them. But they sometimes don't. And like in our lives, we just get busy and we're doing all kinds of things. And I think for me, just, like taking pause. And I think you can overdo it. I mean, it's not about like, hey, I'm thankful for the chair, and I'm thankful for there's heat in my office, and, like, I think making it special. And I think the other piece of it, we talked about this in the prep beforehand, I think that when I was in a place in my life when things weren't good, when I was sick, when I wasn't well, I wasn't grateful for anything. I wasn't acknowledging the fact that it really wasn't all bad. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't that bad. I'm saying it wasn't 100% bad. There were some things that were positive, and that I wasn't acknowledging those. I wasn't saying, "Hey, thanks for this," because I was so sick, sort of caught up in my own thing. And so, yeah, just kind of giving pause. And that's just for me.
No, the pause thing makes sense to me. That, just taking that moment or whatever to acknowledge a good thing or something that you're thankful for is not as much of a task as the stuff that just seems to be out there a lot, things that you see on social media or, self-help things that say, here's what you should do to feel better. Write down all the things that you're thankful for.
Yeah.
But just being like, I guess one thing I'm thinking about is eating, and I've seen this in other things, that if you mindlessly eat, right, while you're doing something else,
yep,
you're more likely to eat more and, that kind of thing. But if you really sit and focus, sort of savor every moment of whatever period of time that is, it makes you feel better. You don't overeat. It can be applied to lots of different things, not just food. But yeah, so taking that moment to really focus on what's going on and the positive side of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're only a few weeks away here from Thanksgiving. What is the real meaning of Thanksgiving? We're supposed to take pause and give thanks for, our family or our home or the food or, right? Like, that is what I think, that's my interpretation. What we are supposed to be doing, right, is an acknowledgement, because I agree. We are, we're so busy in our lives for sure. And yeah, I don't know. I think it doesn't hurt when you're not overdoing it.
Yeah.
The other thing in the Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies book that I want to talk about with gratitude is we developed this kind of cool gratitude tree. It's a little different. So we took because Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies is all about the 8 dimensions of wellness, right? And if you don't know about Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies workbook, it is based on the 8 dimensions of wellness. It has information about, peer support and trauma recovery. It has real life trauma recovery stories in it, including trauma ones, addiction, mental health. But we took the 8 dimensions and we applied it to the gratitude tree. So the tree, the branches are representative of each of the dimensions. And so the exercise in there is to write down what you're grateful for in each of the dimensions. So, in your financially, socially, spiritually, occupational, physical, intellectual, and environmental. And I have done this activity actually at Montana State Hospital. We've gone there, and for years we were doing groups. And this one was always a pretty popular one. So you have people fill out the different branches, what they're grateful for. And sometimes you can't fill them all out. Sometimes there's places where you're not, you're not grateful, and that's okay. And then on the big whiteboard, I would draw, a tree with the branches, and then people would share and say, okay, what are you, give me some of the things you're grateful for in your physical wellness. And people say things, and I would make them the leaves on the tree, so you fill the branch in with the green.
Oh, yeah,
exactly. And you see how it starts coming together. And that was always a really good one, real positive, and I think uplifting for people, because even for somebody who's, they're not doing well and they're in a place like Montana State Hospital, you're in a psychiatric hospital, it's not great, but there's still things to be grateful for. And so helping people just sort of examine those things and then talk about them and acknowledge them. Sometimes just putting that out, having somebody else witness that, can be quite moving for people. So just another activity for you as a person in recovery, listening, or as a peer supporter. It's a great little tool to talk to people about gratitude. Sometimes folks are on the old negative train, and just like everything is going poorly in their lives, and it's not good because of this and because of that, and problems with this, and this person's down on me, and just I think helping people acknowledge that and the power that gratitude can have.
And I think that it's a tool, not the tool.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
But I think that's, you get on the internet, you get on social media, and it sounds like, well, if you just are grateful for the things you have, your whole life will be better. And I realize that that's not true. But, you kind of get those little pockets of things like, if you just have a positive attitude, everything will be fine, that kind of thing. And so I feel like people can get like way too focused on that one thing. So if it's part of your toolbox, not the whole box.
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree with that. I think it's important to acknowledge it. All right, I got one more thing here that I wanted to share. This is from Daily Affirmations for People in Recovery. It's called One Foot in Front of the Other. It says, today I recognize that gratitude is one of the most important tools of recovery of life. So I will, here you go, Andy. I will daily list what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for all of the good that is in the world. I'm grateful for maybe a warm bed, a chance to wake up one more day. I'm grateful for this cup of coffee or tea, or a body that I can rely on that will take me through the day. I'm grateful for my walk, for my ability to enjoy what surrounds me, or the people in my life. It goes on to list all kinds of things. I co-create good in my life through gratitude. And this is a book, One Foot in Front of the Other, by Tiana Dayton. She's a PhD, and it's just a daily for people in recovery. It's not 12-step based. One of the things I always like about this one is just about recovery in general. And it's all the way August 24th. I was just sort of flipping through looking for something specific to gratitude. So, yeah, I think we can put it in the toolbox, but it's not a be-all, end-all. And don't overdo it with the gratitude affirmations, right?
Yeah. They start to lose their meaning if you just keep saying.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we are going to wrap up. I want to thank you once again for tuning in to another podcast. Please check us out every week. We're putting one out there. We're going to be having we're going to add another wrinkle to the podcast lineup coming here in 2020. We're going to roll out a Recovery Roundtable podcast where we're not just going to have one guest. If you've listened to the podcast, Andy does a lot of the interviewing of our guests, and they come on. And this is going to be, 3, 4, 5 of us together, and we're going to be having a conversation about recovery and peer support, and who knows where it will go. It's going to be kind of unscripted and just allowing sort of a free-form style. And we'll be putting these out also as part of the podcast rotation. So I'm very excited about it. I've been working on this for a while, and so we'll see where the Recovery Roundtable podcast takes us.
Yeah, so if you're interested in being on one of those roundtables or just in being on a podcast and talking about whatever topic you're passionate about, just let us know and we'll set that up.
Absolutely. Just shoot an email. It's either jim@mtpeernetwork.org, or if you want to send one over to Andy, it's andi@mtpeernetwork.org. All right, thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works, recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.